Hey, Mr. Wiedemer here from Mr. Wiedemer's History. Welcome to World War II, Unit 10. Today we're going to talk about the rise of totalitarian leaders and the eruption of World War II in Europe. Alright, here we go. Now, World War I really devastated Europe as a whole, but there's no better example than the devastation of World War I than Germany. Okay, primarily because the Treaty of Versailles really mistreated Germany. You know, politically, economically, militarily, things were not looking good in Germany. So Europe as a whole was looking bad, but Germany was the worst case. Right? And one of the worst was their economy. They had a thing called hyperinflation. Okay, it's where at the height of hyperinflation, in November 1923, it would take 4.2 trillion German marks to equal $1 US. Yes, basically their money became worthless. You'd get paid several times a day. You'd buy a loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow of marks. People burned marks to keep warm because they're just a piece of paper. They became worthless. Okay, that's a reason why you don't just print money all the time and think it would fix your problems. It won't, because you end up with hyperinflation with 4.2 trillion marks equals $1 US. So Germany's economy was in shambles. It was just unreal. As you see, crazy hyperinflation. From January to November in 1923, it just became worthless. The mark just became worthless. Just absolutely terrible. Alright, here's an example of a 50 mark note, the 20 trillion mark note. Wow, 20 trillion mark note. You'd have to have that. I mean, it's just insane to think about. Alright, and the government during this time, we've talked about it before, it was set up after World War I, the Weimar Republic. Alright, this is the democratic government of Germany, and it did not last very long because it was very weak, and people in Germany did not like it. Okay, and so Weimar Republic is not going to last very long. Okay, one of the main people in Germany didn't like it would be Adolf Hitler, and he's going to rise to power and change things all up. Alright, which leads us to totalitarian leaders. The rise of these dictators, the rise of these leaders that's going to change the face of the world. Alright, we're going to start out with Benito Mussolini in Italy, Adolf Hitler in Germany, Joseph Stalin in Russia, Soviet Union, Francisco Franco in Spain. Right? The vision was so appealing to the people, they were so unhappy with the way life was going, that they're willing to give up their freedoms, give up their lives to these leaders that promised a brighter future and a better tomorrow. And so they're going to give up this wretched life they live for a future glory. And so they talked a good talk, and people listened to them, and so that's going to help them become great leaders. And people just so fed up with the way things are going that they're going to listen to these people. Alright, first start out with El Duce. Alright, El Duce, the chief, Benito Mussolini. He was a fascist leader of Italy, founded the National Fascist Party. Alright, fascism threats the glory of the state. It's all about the state. The state, the state, the state. Alright, Mussolini's prime goal here was to recreate the former glory of the Roman Empire. So make Italy great, grand again in the world and recreate the Roman Empire. And so he was very, full of himself. Just like all these dictators were. These totalitarian leaders are very full of themselves. Alright, so Mussolini was just like the rest. He's a great speaker. He used this to gain a seat in Parliament, got into power in 1922, established his dictatorship. Mussolini had total control over the daily lives of Italy. His name is Totalitarian. They had total control over the lives of everybody. Alright, so Mussolini. And the most famous guy, Adolf Hitler. Alright, 1889, 1945. He's born in Austria. Wanted to become an artist, but got rejected by an art school that was ran by Jews. Alright, became homeless in Vienna. Things were not going well for him. Anti-Semitism really began here. As he's seen these Jews being profitable, he's like, how is this possible? They're being profitable. They're not nice to him. He really begins anti-Semitism here, this hatred of Jews. It really just boils up as time goes on. Alright, he volunteered as a member of the German army in World War I, almost died in World War I, but he was saved by a member of the Allied forces. Being a nice guy, a humanitarian, ends up saving one of the worst dictators in the history of the world. So Hitler's anger about the Treaty of Versailles led him into politics. he joined the National Socialist, the Nazi Party, attempted to take over. Alright, and it's a beer hall coup. Basically, he's going to kill all the leaders when they go out drinking after Parliament. And so, this was found out. He was thrown in jail. He didn't serve all of his time in jail, about 9 months. But while in jail, he wrote a book called Mein Kampf. Okay, My Struggle. And in this book, he basically outlined his hatred of Jews and that he wanted to exterminate all Jews. And he outlined, the greatness of Germany. And so, if people actually paid attention to this book back then, maybe they would have locked this guy away and kept him locked away. He wouldn't have became as powerful as he was. But they didn't. And so, these things became a reality. Hitler stressed nationalism, devotion to the state, superiority of the German race. The Aryan race. He dreamed of uniting all German people into one great German empire, the Third Reich. He blamed Jews for many of the government's problems because the Jews were in charge during World War I, and it all fell apart. So it's your fault. You stabbed us in the back. You mistreated us, and so it's your fault. You're to blame. Because they're the scapegoat. He became Germany's chancellor on March 30th, 1933, basically so the guy, Hindenburg, can keep track of him. That Hindenburg dies, then Hitler takes over, and he's now in charge, and, it's all downhill from then. He secretly began building up Germany's army. He's secretly beginning up the Air Force. The armed forces just building. Despite what Treaty of Versailles says you can't do that, he does it anyways. Ideology is strong Germany. The Führer, he would be in charge. Survival of the fittest. Germany should take care of their own problems. And they're in danger from communists and Jews who had to be destroyed. Get rid of them. And create a big, large German state. All German-speaking people under one leader. Him. Next up is Joseph Stalin and the USSR. He came to power in the mid-1920s after Lenin. He kind of forced his way into power, by means of, killing other people to get what he wanted, which was power. Like Hitler, Mussolini created myths of his own greatness, renamed towns after him, such as Stalingrad, and basically took total control over everything. And that's how they get the names totalitarian leaders, because they would take total control over everything, all aspects of life. All came down to them. Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin. Next in Spain, we have Francisco Franco. He's a fascist general, Spanish Civil War, left communist, right fascist and nationalist. In Italy and Germany are going to help out the fascists and nationalists. And the Soviet Union and the United States are going to help out, as well. And in 1939, Francisco's nationalists win, and since puts him in charge. Now, he wasn't as crazy as the others, but, it wasn't that great. And in Japan, as you see here, Japan is now an empire. Despite the Washington Conference 1990, we're like, please, Japan, don't. And then they go and invade Manchuria, violating the treaties, and just building up their empire, building up military, and, wanting control over the Pacific. So military gained control. Tojo's leader. People were inspired by naturalistic dreams, Japanese greatness. Like we talked about last time, military invaded Manchuria in 1931 without approval of the Japanese government. The military is now in charge. They basically have a coup and take over the government. So it's a military dictatorship in Japan. And so the military is running a show, and they want to get bigger and badder and take over the South Pacific. No matter who's in the way, primarily, say, the United States that has holdings in the South Pacific. A quick review. Germany was in financial ruin and political chaos, large part thanks to the Treaty of Versailles. Germany suffered from hyperinflation. Basically, the money was worthless. Europe saw a rise of totalitarian leaders: Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini, Franco, and Tojo in Asia. Italy, what are they going to do first? Let's invade an African country that can barely defend themselves, because they pose a threat to Italy and what they want. And so they invade Italy. Italy invades Ethiopia. Ethiopia has not near the weapon power here. They just destroy Ethiopia. Basically, it's guns versus sticks. They just destroy Ethiopia. France, Great Britain kind of let them do this, and they kind of get roped into this. but Great Britain and France like, well, we can't have any of this. So that leaves Mussolini siding with Germany because he's mad at Great Britain and France. All right, Hitler is going to take charge. So despite violating the Treaty of Versailles, Germany is going to rearm. All right, Hitler's going to militarize the Rhineland. He's going to invade Austria and annex Sudetenland. All this stuff that says Treaty of Versailles says you can't do, Hitler, but he's going to do it anyways. All right, but Great Britain and France didn't want any conflict. So what's Great Britain and France going to do? Oh, Hitler, yeah, you can take this. We don't want any trouble. Hitler's like a little baby. Oh, I want Czechoslovakia. I want Sudetenland. Okay, here you go, little baby Hitler. Here's your sucker for you. Here, you can have whatever you want. Just please don't cry. That's basically what we're doing here. Hitler's a little crybaby wanting all this stuff, and we just gave it to him because we wanted to avoid war at all costs. Because we were so distraught from World War I that we're going to do whatever it takes to avoid another war. And so we let Hitler have this stuff. And Hitler's like, they're going to let me have this. Then I'll just take more. You gave Hitler an inch, and he took a mile. You gave him one sucker, he took the whole bag. All right? And Neville Chamberlain, he says, we'll have peace in our time, thanks to his appeasement. Boy, was he ever wrong. All right? So Hitler's going to go capture more than just Sudetenland. He's going to capture Czechoslovakia without a fight. And what does Great Britain and France do? Nothing. Let him do it. All right? So Hitler made a pact with Italy and a non-aggression pact with the USSR. And so things are just piling up. They're coming. Stalin agreed to stay out of Germany's way if Hitler promised not to attack the USSR. So which in turn gave Hitler a one-front war. All right? And then when that's done, he's going to go invade the USSR anyways. All right? So Hitler attacks Poland. This is really the straw that broke the camel's back for World War II. Okay, Hitler's going to invade Poland, and this is when Great Britain and France say, okay, enough is enough. All right, we're going to war with you. But Germany's so powerful, they use this thing called Blitzkrieg, lightning war, where they just take him out very quickly. Say, attack Poland, take Poland, and very quickly, things just go from bad to worse. Alright, so Poland falls in a month. Poland's divided between Germany and the USSR. Things are just going really bad. Alright, so Hitler advances and takes over territory. Allied nations appease Hitler, allow him to take Czechoslovakia, and Hitler doesn't stop there and invades Poland, officially starting World War II. Now, Germany's going to turn to the west, and they're going to take care of the Allies. Okay, and the Allies declare war on Germany September 3rd, 1939. The Allies waited for an attack in winter, but nothing came. It's called the phony war, because we waited, and Germany never attacked. Alright, Germany's preparing to attack through the Ardennes Forest, which France, for some reason, thought no one could go through, and so they didn't guard it very well, and Germany went right on through. So France, was just overtaken by Germany. And as you see here, Hitler took the Netherlands and Belgium onto France. Germany surprised France. The Allies were unprepared. By the end of June, France surrendered to Germany and Italy. France was prepared to fight World War I all over again, digging trenches. We don't need to dig trenches. Alright, Germany came in with brand new tactics and whooped up. As you see here, occupied zone. All this was German zone. Okay, they occupied almost all of France. Terrible. I mean, France was just not ready for Germany to come in and take over. Alright, next up, the only thing that stood in the way of Hitler was Britain. Hitler's taken everything it wanted, took all the German-speaking lands, has Italy on his side, took over most of France, now stands in Hitler's way of achieving total European domination is Britain. Alright, Winston Churchill says, we shall defend our island whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches, landing grounds and fields, and in the streets and on the hills. We shall never surrender. And so Germany's planning an attack, destroy the British Royal Air Force. Alright, and so they're going to attack Britain. Alright, called the Battle of Britain, where the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, began bombing London. And they bombed London quite often. But Britain used new technology to detect approaching planes. They used a radar. Alright, the goal was to terrorize the public so they would lose the will to fight. But thanks to Winston Churchill's great speech, alright, thanks to the resolve of the Brits, they did not give up. They did not surrender. Not give up, not surrender. The late 40 battle Britain was over. Britain stopped the Luftwaffe, and guess what? Hitler finally lost the battle of World War I. World War II, excuse me. Hitler finally lost. The first battle he lost was the Battle of Britain. Alright. And then tensions are going to rise in the South Pacific as well. All right, till next time, study history.